也别摘。Once upon a time, in a town folded beneath red hills and called by the long dry season, a whisper began to move faster than smoke. The medicine that kept people alive was thinning. Boxes that used to come on market days grew rare. The clinic's shelves stood like empty bowls. They spoke in low voices at the bakery. Kade, who kept a small clinic table at the back of the bookshop, turned a nearly empty bottle between his fingers. "Trucks, stop," he said. "Rules choke the roads. People are going without medicine." This was no ordinary worry. In the town lived people who could be punished for who they loved. For them, missing a tablet could mean more than sickness. It could mean being exposed, losing home, or being driven out when help mattered most. So the circle of helpers decided to act like the storm they feared. Sudden and without shame, they made a map of secret routes, paths beneath and behind tall cassava thickets, river crossings where the ferryman blinked twice and looked away. They taught one another to wrap tales in folded cloth and hide them inside ordinary things. A jar of pumpkin seed, the hollow of a walking stick, the seam of a shawl. They gave a chalk mark as the market stall, a crooked star that meant, "Come tonight, quietly." But the threats grew teeth. One moonless night, a patrol seized a crate on the outer road and burned the papers. Rumors said officials were watching those they thought deviant. Fear sharpened like a blade. That is when Moro, who lived beyond the second river, did something that felt like a legend. He rode his old bicycle into town with a basket full of medicine on the rack. Men who had once scorned the circle let him pass because Moro's mother had saved a chief's child once, and debts older than law are heavy. The patrol stopped him at the ford. "What have you?" they barked. Men who expected to be cowed trembled. Moro did not hand over the basket. He hammered his heel on the ground until the earth spoke. "An old trick," he said later, that made the soil tremble like a warning drum. The patrol staggered, not from fear of the earth, but from the sight of the people who rose behind Moro. Mothers with knives for firewood, a barber with a box of razors, queer young men with empty palms made hard by hunger. "We carry life," Amara said, voice like iron. "Take our anger if you will, but the medicine you want to stop will not die here." A shout, a shove. A boy named Ellie broke into running, pushed past the patrol and dropped the basket into the river reeds. The patrol grabbed at him and missed. They left with nothing but a furious wind. That night, the reeds hid the basket, and the circle ferried pails out like secret rain. They set watches and codes. They saved 2 lives that week. One who had gone pale as paper, and another who would have been driven out if not for a neighbor who traded their last goat for a ride to Moro's cousin. Word like that grows teeth of its own. People from other towns came with stories of raids and bird clinics, and they brought with them one impossible thing: courage. The town's fear turned into a force that could be used. The merchants who had stayed silent now spoke in the markets for fairer rules. A teacher began teaching a map of safe routes to hidden clinics. Still, the fight was not always clear or clean. The circle learned hard lessons. Some couriers were beaten and took long to come back. Some days they would find a crate empty and a note that read only this: "We are watching." They learned to move medicine like a story. Short sentences, no long explanations. Names changed. The end. Disruptions to HIV medication supply can come from policy changes, funding gaps, and supply chain problems, and they can hit people facing stigma the hardest. If you need help, contact local clinics, national AIDS organizations and commissions, or community groups that provide harm reduction and medicine access support. Again, resources: local clinic, national AIDS organization or commission, and community-based harm reduction groups. Seek help, especially from organizations that will cater to your identity. Care with courage keeps people alive.